There have been down through history thousands of influential Mormon poets that wrote about their true heartfelt feelings. They mastered this by incorporating their ideas into some of the various LDS poetry people can read or reflect on in modern times. Many of these classic female poets still draw attention from businessmen, students, adults, and parents. Much of the poem's themes are basic everyday things that almost all people can still relate to. Around the 1850s, Sarah Carmichael moved to the lower Salt Lake Valley with some family and close friends. Her remarkable talent grew despite the poor school system and lack of educational opportunities. The Salt Lake newspaper published more than 50 of her poems from around 1850 to 1860. Her appeal was mostly from the way she incorporated ideas like personal integrity, friendship, and love into simple down-to-earth ideas. Around 1866, her friends and family helped her to publish a small printing containing 26 of her favorite poems. Shortly thereafter, she married a surgeon in the army. Tragically, a short time later, she started to slip into a state of dementia. She passed on in mid-1901, peacefully while sleeping, and is remembered for the poem April Flowers. On March 10, 1841, a niece of LDS leader Joseph Smith was born. Her parents chose to name her Josephine Smith after her maternal grandmother, though later in life she would change it to Ina Coolbrith. She moved to California in 1852, where some of her early poems were published in the local Los Angeles Times paper. At age 17, she was briefly married and lost her child. Around the 1860s, she decided to move to the San Francisco area, where she got a job as a journalist for the Overland Monthly. She later became a librarian for several notable libraries, including the Oakland Public Library. She passed in 1928 while sharing a home with her niece. Her simple lyric poems were praised by many famous authors of the time, including her close friend Mark Twain. Born in 1844 on October 9, Augusta Joyce Corcoran was born with the Mormon belief. At 2 years old, her parents sold everything they owned and left New York on a ship to California with Mr. Samuel Brannan. After a long 6 months, they arrived in the harbors of San Francisco. Shortly after arriving, they discovered unbearable living conditions due mostly to the ongoing war with Mexico. The gold rush during 1949 brought some people prosperity and ultimately ruined her parents' marriage. In late 1868, her mother married again and moved to Utah. Augusta married and became a second wife of George Corcoran until she passed in 1915. Drawing mostly on her traumatic early life and various hardships she overcame, most of her poems are centered around hope and the idea that everyone has a purpose. Historical literary female figures are often overlooked or are underrated when compared to more contemporary poets. Because of the various hardships many experienced, LDS poetry is blessed to have many different female authors. They may be old, though never forgotten, and can be found at any local library.